Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Coding My Way In. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but last week I did not post a video. So my siblings came to visit me and I haven't seen them like in 7 years. So I was a little bit busy with that last week and a little bit of this one. So I was like in and out studying, so the project took a little bit of a second place because I wanted to spend time with my siblings. But I'm back and I was able to do a lot of things under the hood. So you might not see it, but something like visually that I added was you can now, when you click the button, the GitHub button, you can now go to the repo and you can now sign out. But here's the thing. The last time you guys saw the application, I was making a mistake. I was using user session. Let me see if I have the, here it is. I was using sessions and I was using profile in order to try to sign in and sign out to the application. And I ended up having to like hard code things. So when you guys saw the previous video that I was signing in and you were able to see this this username, it was mostly hard coded in terms of I just forced it and made it like a map array in order to make it work so I could show it to you guys. But I was actually not using next auth properly. And it's when I found out that I had to remove the sign in callback, which was this that I had here. And I had to remove the profile. And the reason that I was using profile in session is because, like I told you guys, I'm learning. And a tutorial that I took was using sessions and profile. But as I was going into the application with the components that make the interface, I noticed that it didn't make any sense because the tutorial was using Google Auth and I'm using credentials. So as you can see here, I was able to fully integrate the next auth for credentials-based authentication. And I removed the sign-in callback because it was incorrectly attempting to create a new user during the signing, and the callback was using the property for profile, which is usually used for auth providers for like Google and GitHub, which is not what I'm trying to do. So I was able to fix this mistake because, again, I'm using a credential login. I'm not using Google Auth, GitHub GitHub Auth. So this is how it looks when it's properly done. Where's the auth? Here. So this is how it looks when it's supposed to be done correctly. So you use the next auth configuration, and what I did was, okay, now I'm going to use the credentials, which is going to be username and password. Why? As you can see here, here, username and password. That's all we're using. So it makes no sense for me having anything else for the sign-in process. So the other thing that I did, once I did that, then I do an async await, connect the database because I need to connect the database so I can reach out to the user that already exists, and then I compare the credentials, the username and the password, to make sure it is the proper one, and then I go in and search to the user. User is the schema from the models that we have here, which is this one. It says user schema, but when you go down here, this is what we're looking for the user. So once it does that, then it validates the password because in the user model, we're using the password hash in addition to the registration. Yes, we're taking a regular password, but at the end of the day, I'm hashing it here, and then the new users who register go from registration to user, and that's the flow that is going on. And then the other thing that you do, you look for a specific data, the user ID, the name. I'm using name, but I just duplicated here. But my main focus is going to be we only signing in with username. And then ID, the reason that we have it like this is because if you are familiar with MongoDB, that's how does the ID. But you know what? Don't believe what I'm telling you. Let me show you. Never take my word. So here it is. So MongoDB creates an ID immediately, and this is how it does it. You see here? So that's why I'm making a underscore ID. Not because I want to do it, but because MongoDB requires it. And remember, we are connecting to the database, we hashing the credentials and the models, and then we hashing, we validating that password and the password hashed, and then boom, this is the information that we get in order to do that. And then we use a token, which I was not using. And token is basically what saves the authentication. And what I did was, you do the next auth here, and then you go based on the component, what that component is trying to do. So this is what literally verifies the credential, and then the chat list, I'm only using the use session so I can log out, so I can sign out. Doing it this way, utils, where are the SVG? Oh, here, the SVG functions. So as you can see here, chat list gives me the session, but the icon that helps me click to get out of the session is this one right here, and then is a SVG, which we can see, where is it? Here, the SVGs are here. And then what we do is, since that SVG is going to sign me out, then I import sign out, and then I just pass it into here, and it's basically here. I create a function, and then I export that function within the SVG so we can properly sign out. So you actually don't do much work when you're signing out, because Google Auth, Next Auth is already doing that for you. So that's a plus. And another thing that I had to learn was, I've been struggling a lot with sockets, and I actually had, I even tweeted about it, because something that I was trying to do, I was trying to implement npm ws, which is the package for the WebSocket, which is this one. But there was a problem. I'm using Next.js for my application, and the more I try to implement this package, the less it made sense. So I kept looking for like different examples, and I noticed that everybody was using not WS, but Socket.io and Socket.io.client. Nobody was using WS for Next.js, and for me it was weird. And I kept looking for different examples and stuff for Next.js applications doing chat apps, and I just kept seeing everybody using it. And then I'm like, okay, I asked Gemini, I keep seeing like multiple examples of people using the packages Socket.io, using this instead of the WebSocket. And then I come to find out, and here I took a tweet. It says, and here's the problem why you gotta use Socket.io and not WS when you're using Next.js. The problem is serverless functions. Next.js emphasizes serverless functions and API routes. These are stateless and short-lived, while WebSockets need persistent connections. No default WebSocket support. So basically, what it's saying is, the way that routing works with Next.js is they only give you what you ask when you ask for it. So there's never like a constant connection. So that doesn't work with WebSockets. The problem with WebSockets is you need a constant communication between the HTTP so you can make the request. But because Next.js doesn't necessarily do that, because it does it for you, it clashes. So that's when I also had to learn how to like initialize the socket server, because without this function here, I need this function, because what this does is let me have it here because I have it on a Git repository. So the problem that's going on here, that we need this function, is because I'm going to tell you right now, because I wrote it on my blah blah blah. Here it is. I'll put it here. So I learned the purpose of this portion of res for response socket.server, and it's because, like I told you guys before, you're essentially exposing the HTTP server, which is hidden by Next.js default. So since Next.js is already hiding the HTTP request. You have to literally manually call it so it can connect to the WebSocket, and that's how you're able to use it. So if you're building a chat app application, do not waste your time, do not use WS. Socket.io, that's all you have to use. And here's the package in case you need it. Here, where is it? Here. This is what you need: Socket.io and Socket.io dash client. And the reason that you need both is because one is for the server and the client is for the client. So it's self-explanatory. So I was dealing with that, and I'm still working on connecting the conversations with my routing and my chat feed component. And so you can have an idea what I'm talking about. This is the chat list, and this is the chat feed component. So what I want is when I click, right? If I click Maria, this has to change to Maria. If I click to Richter, it goes to Richter. But right now that's not happening. Why? Because I had to hard code it. So it's hard coded here, and I did it on purpose because I needed to know when I was doing the UI how the application was going to look. But what I do have now, which is good, is if you check the console, right? Let's clear it. If I click Maria, you see now it recognizes Maria. Richter, username 3. And let's say I click a bunch of times, clear, user 15, it recognizes it now. So now we're cooking with grease, like they say in my neighborhood. So it's been a very humbling experience, and I'm just happy. I was actually coding today. For the most part, I don't code on weekends, but I had to go visit my siblings on Thursday, and then last week I was like busy with them, so I needed to catch up so I can have a good update and really understand. But this project is a lot of work, and yeah, now that my siblings are going back to my home country, now I can focus and back to the grind. I need to finish this project ASAP so I can then do the third one, which is going to be a banking app. But I know I threw a lot of information, and it's just crazy to think that if you go back to the video that I posted 2 weeks ago, you'll probably be like, Israel, but nothing changed. But I did so much, but under the hood. So last week, I couldn't sign out, and now we are able to. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys. See you in the next one. Peace.